Good afternoon and greetings from Jerusalem, Jane. Today is a special day. Israel got a new prime minister. So you're thinking, how did that happen? Well, the government fell. Israel is heading for new election and they have been set for November 1st. And I know, I know a lot of you are thinking, gosh, what? Election again? This is going to be the fifth election in 3.5 years. About a year ago, this current government was made, and Naftali Bennett, the leader of the Yamina party, became the prime minister. And you probably also know that this was a coalition that was spanning from Muslim Brotherhood, far out here, far left, middle, right, and they all came together after Israel have had 4 elections and things were just really not coming together. Some people are saying that all of these people united on one thing because ideologically they were so far apart, but they came together because they were saying Nachnu Bibi, anybody but Benjamin Netanyahu. But anyway, this government lasted for a year. It was a very narrow government. They literally was lying neck on neck after a couple of the members left. So eventually there was no future for this government and it fell. So in that agreement, it was stipulated that when this government is falling, Naftali Bennett would step aside as prime minister and the leader of Yair Lapid would become prime minister. So that happened today. The passover of the baton, the prime minister baton, has officially happened from Naftali Bennett to Yair Lapid. Yair Lapid's grandfather was killed in the Holocaust. His father and mother survived and came here to Israel. So that is his legacy, that's his past. He's a survivor. His family survived the Holocaust. He's now going to be the prime minister until Israel has a new government after this upcoming election, November 1st. Yair Lapid was a former journalist. He was a news anchor until he started his own party. And now he's going to be the prime minister. So for the first time in many years, it's not going to be like a right-wing prime minister here in Israel. So election is coming up again, and it's set for November 1st. I know that a lot of people are saying, how can this be? And I have made other videos where I've been trying to explain that here in Israel, the Israeli parliament has 120 members. So in order to form a majority, to have a coalition, you need to have at least 61 mandates. Benjamin Netanyahu failed last time to succeed or have those, and that's why the baton was given to the other side, and they came together and they have been this government for a year. For a lot of people who voted for Naftali Bennett, the leader of Yamina, they were saying he completely broke all of his promises, his values, when he went in and he made this unity government with far left side, Mary's party, and also Ram, which is literally part of the Muslim Brotherhood here in Israel. And the prognosis for Naftali Bennett, the future in politics, looked grim, and he saw the writing on the wall and he said, I am not going to be running in the upcoming election. He's stepping back from politics. And the second on the spot, on the list for Yamina, Yair Lapid is now going to be the leader of that party, Yamina. So from now up till the election, Israel is having a liberal guy as Prime Minister, Yair Lapid. He is going to be the guy who's going to welcome the American president. Joe Biden is touching down in Israel next month on July 13. And he will be greeted by Yair Lapid. He will also meet, as far as I understand, both the leader of the opposition, that was Benjamin Netanyahu, and also I believe he will still be meeting Naftali Bennett. So it is definitely a time to come together and to pray for Israel while we are in this time now without a functioning government, and they're going to start the election campaign already until all of Israel is going to vote on November 1st. The way it works here in Israel is that the party who gets the biggest votes, and for many, many years, that has been Likud, led by Benjamin Netanyahu. Normally that person is being given the task to try and form a coalition, and then he has the mandate for how many he received, and for Likud it's always somewhere between 30 and 36. Then he has to go out and find parties that will recommend him as prime minister and see how many mandates each party has, and then he has to reach at least 61 and preferably more in order to have a solid government and not someone that can fall easily. And that's what didn't really succeed for him. So it's very, very interesting what's going to happen here in Israel. So for all of you around the world who loves Israel, who support Israel, this is really, really the time to come together and pray for Israel. When you're in this season of heading to elections, many times your enemies see that as weak, and that's when they're scheming and plotting even more. Also because many of these enemies are afraid for Israel to get back to having a strong right-wing government led by Benjamin Netanyahu and the people on the right. So it's definitely a very, very crucial time. Let me end by saying that we pray for Israel, we stand with Israel, we support Israel, no matter who is the leader of this country. Is it important who is the leader? Absolutely. But our support and love for this nation is because we know this nation is chosen as specific land. God singled out this little piece of real estate and he said, I put my name down there. This is my land. When it comes to Israel, God and Israel is inseparable. That's what makes this country is so unique. And he said, I will bring them from the north, the south, the east, the west. I am calling them home. I'm bringing them home. I'm bringing them home for prophecies to come alive, for the Jewish people to live in this land that I have promised them, that I have given to him. That's the promise from the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And there's no lies and propaganda, BDS movements, no lies of occupation, two-state solution, or anything that will change that fact. God didn't change his mind. He gave this land, all of Israel, more land than they have now, to the Jewish people. Why? Because it's his land. It is his land. It's his land. And that's what you can always stand on. That's the truth. That's the facts. And anybody saying anything else, they are calling the Bible a lie. They are changing narrative. They are changing history. Open a history book and read about this mighty, mighty nation with so much majesty and mystery and great history and destiny. That's the nation of Israel. So to sum it up, Israel's government fell today. There's a new prime minister. His name is Yair Lapid. He is center-left, a liberal, as someone is saying. Israel is heading for election November 1st, which is just after the high holidays and the end of Sukkot, which is taking place in October. So pray for Israel, stand with Israel, bless Israel, love Israel. And one of the ways that you can do that in a tangible way is to book that ticket, pack your bags, get on that plane and come here to Israel. Today, I was standing downtown waiting for the bus, and I was standing in front of this famous hostel, and this American family came out, mother and father and two children. And I was just, my heart just beeps with joy when I see people are coming here, coming back to Israel after all the closure and walking on holy ground, and see for yourself what a great country this is, what a democracy this is. That's the way you educate yourself. You come here, you engage, you meet people, so you can go home and be an ambassador for Israel. You can go home and be an ambassador for God and say, you know what? I know history about Israel. I know the Bible is true. I know God gave this land to the Jewish people. I know God is saying, comfort, comfort my people. I know God is saying, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. I know the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob doesn't lie. He doesn't change his mind. He doesn't take anything back. I know this land is given to the Jewish nation and as the only Jewish homeland in the world. So come through Israel for such a time as this, and wherever you are around the world, pray, pray, pray for Israel. It's more important than ever. And also pray protection and blessings for this new prime minister, that he will do an exceptional job, that he will be strong and proud, and he will be like an oak tree that's going to stand like this, and he's not going to bend over here when America is telling him to do something. He's not going to bend over here if Russia or China or the United Nations is going to tell him to do something, but he's going to stand here and he's going to say, this is a mandate I have right now as the leader of the Holy Lands. I'm going to stand here, I'm going to stand proud, I'm going to stand strong, and I'm going to do what is right for Israel. Always what is right for Israel, because this is God's homeland. So God bless you, everybody. Pack that bag and come here to Israel. It will change your life. I promise. Bye.